The Better Angels of Our Nature, Steven Pinker writes, it's easy to forget how dangerous life used to be, how deeply brutality was once woven into the fabric of daily existence. Cultural memory pacifies the past, leaving us with the pale souvenirs whose bloody origins have been bleached away. Or, in the words of Thomas Hobbes, life in the not too distant past was nasty, brutish, and short. Now, that's the classic marks of the left. Pinker is a Harvard professor, Harvard PhD, and he's coming at it. He's written a book that's sort of made a lot of splash 2 years ago, in which he was arguing that things are getting much better. So that is sort of a way that the left tends to characterize things. In the broad view of things, obviously, there would be differences of opinion on issues like climate change and other things. But they would say the past was bad and you got to get on the right side of history. And the right, again, it's a caricature, would say, long for the good old days, and we're headed in the wrong direction. I'm going to argue Pinker's viewpoint. There's both sides overstate their position. There's good and bad in any particular era. But certainly we've got to recognize that what Pinker is saying right now is true by almost any conceivable metric. Life expectancy, education, literacy, human rights, poverty, infant mortality, food insecurity, whatever. It's a great time to be alive. We are healthier, we are safer, we are freer than we have ever been before. We live, arguably, at the least violent and most stable era of human history. To quote the Roman poet, Ovid, let others praise ancient times. I am glad I was born in these. However, there are things about this particular moment that are not as good as they have been in the past. One of them is that we tend to be lonelier. We live in a very complex society. We need each other more than we ever have before. In order just to record this, right? There's got to be people who can make cameras, people that can run cameras, people that can post videos. I mean, I can't do any of this stuff. And I can't fix my car. I can't grow my own food. I don't grow my own food. It is a very complex society that we live in. We need each other more than we ever have before. However, we have reached this point in which we don't need people to do these things, or we don't need to be around the people to do these things. And many of us have enough money that we pay people to do things, as opposed to going over to our neighbor and saying, hey, can you help me lift my lawnmower into the back of my car because I got to go get it repaired? Or can you repair my lawnmower for me? We used to rely on each other far more than we do today. And so what we have is lots of people who are living very isolated lives. They know more about what's going on around the world than they do about what's going on in the lives of the people right across the street. And I get in trouble for saying this, but I keep saying it because I believe it is profoundly true. And that is that some cultures are better in some things than other cultures. Okay, so some cultures are better in some things than other cultures are in those things. I'm not saying some cultures are better than other things across the board. I don't believe that. But I think cultures, just to sort of put the most drastic spin on it I can, I think those cultures that are like the Sisters of Mercy, that care for the weak, I think those cultures are better in those things than the ancient Aztec culture that used to be involved in human sacrifice. Call me crazy. I think it's fine to say that this culture is better at this area than this culture. I say all that to say this. You are living in a culture. Most of us hearing this are living at a time in a culture that is good at a lot of things, but not good at friendship. And this is a big problem. We were not made to go it alone. The Christian faith doesn't work when you think of it as a solo activity. We were made in the image of a God who has eternally existed in the perfect fellowship he enjoys with himself, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We were made in the image of a triune God. We were made in the image of relationship. We were made for relationships. We need each other. We are better together. So this week, And next, I am going to be trying to drive home that point in a variety of different ways, coming at this from a half dozen different angles. I want to make the point that today we have to be more intentional than we've been in the past about cultivating good, deep friendships, caring for each other, investing in those relationships. They're inconvenient. They are inconvenient. Friends, imaginary friends are better than friends in some senses because they're never inconvenient. Just like imaginary gods and imaginary spouses can be perfect. They could be just exactly what we want. Reality can be harder, but it is what we've been called to. We were made for relationship. We are better together. Expect to hear more of that in the next 2 weeks. Have a good day.